Good day, everybody. This is meteorologist Mark Molnar at Meteor Marks Weather Northeastern, Weather Eastern, and Hurricane Eastern. We're taking a look at the tropics along with your weather for North America. Yeah, the tropics could still have something in it for us off the northeast coast. We could be dealing with a nor'easter that could transition into some sort of subtropical system. I'll show you the details and model data on that. We're also going to take a look at the massive severe weather outbreak that'll be occurring in the midsection of the country and spreading across the southeast throughout the week. We'll also be taking a look at heavy rain prospects in the Ohio Valley and the northeast, where we could have some flash flooding occurring as well. And if that weren't all enough, we'll throw it into the mix and see if we have any cold weather coming or any chances of snow over the next couple weeks. I am working on my winter weather 2021-2022 outlook, so watch out for that shortly. Hopefully I'll get that out the door pretty quick. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell button so you're alerted. Smash the like button. Question or comment in the comment section down below, and there are timestamps down in the description down below. Let's get right on into it. And we're taking a look at the tropics here. That big area, National Hurricane Center really putting that chance of that nor'easter. It's developing off the U.S. East Coast of developing into some sort of subtropical system. It could take on some sort of subtropical characteristics here. We'll have to see if that system is able to obtain that. It's definitely going to become a cold core nor'easter, but we'll see if it slowly transitions once it heads out over the Gulf Stream. Across the rest of the tropics, we're really not watching anything at the moment. Active intertropical convergence zone, nothing in the Gulf of Mexico, nothing this week in the Caribbean, even though the GFS last week was hinting at something. It looks like that's completely fallen off the radar. All right, taking a look at the Gulf of Mexico, pretty much clear as a bell here across most of the Gulf of Mexico until you get down to just west of the western tip of Cuba. We have some showers and thunderstorms with the stalled out frontal boundary. Lots of wind shear you can see in the upper levels here as these clouds wisping pretty fast across the screen from west to east. Nothing of interest. And then the rest of the tropics, look at this big blob off the U.S. East Coast. This is our developing nor'easter style system that could develop into something subtropical later on in the forecast period up here off the northeast coast. And then the intertropical convergence zone, yes, we do have a lot of big red blobs out here. Nothing of interest at the moment, however. We'll have to watch if any of these thunderstorms do persist, though. Sea surface temperatures are still plenty warm for this time of year. All right, let's take a look at model runs. We're going to start out, we're going to mix the tropics with North American weather here because that's what we'll do. Let's take a look here. Big high pressure out here in the eastern Atlantic. Look at that big storm system here across the mid portion of the country. And then we have that system that's off the southeast coast here. It's going to be strengthening. Thank you, tropicaltidbits.com. GFS, take a look. We'll put this into motion. Look at this. This is later into Monday night, Tuesday. Look at this system really starting to crank off the coast here. And then you have this other system back to it's going to be transferring a lot of its energy here to the coastline. We'll see if this forms any sort of subtropical system out of it, because it's going to have some characteristics of a cold core plus warm core. This could be some sort of tropical system. And look how it kind of congeals off the U.S. East Coast towards later morning into early afternoon on Tuesday and to Tuesday night here. Look at this. This is one big ball of energy here, and there's a lot of vorticity with this. There's a lot of dynamics going on with this. And then you see the next system here dropping down into the plains. Look at that. We don't really have anything to worry about here out in the Atlantic throughout the rest of the week here, but look at that system really bombing out here off the coastline, anywhere from 975, 980 millibars. Look at that big next trough kicking in. There's that next chance of very severe, strong thunderstorms across the southern plains, and those will be spreading across the southeast. Look at that. Pull this low to the east, pretty well blocked. High pressure, and look at this. This system really forms into a cutoff low. This is a negative NAO index. This is the kind of pattern. Look at that. That's tremendous. That's craziness. Let's get into the next model, CMC. Let's see if it shows a similar picture. We have high pressure out here in the eastern Atlantic. There's that system, and there's that next system forming along the southeast coast during the day on Monday. And then Tuesday, we bring it up just off the coastline, North Carolina. There's that low holding back that energy across the Great Lakes, and we put that into motion. Look at that, congealing midday, early afternoon on Tuesday. There's that next trough kicking in. Nothing else out here in the Atlantic. Fast-moving flow. And look at this. The CMC actually retrogrades the low Tuesday night back into the coastline here. We'll have to watch for some very torrential rains and some beach erosion here. This system will be strengthening. And look at this system will be strengthening out in the midsection of the country too. Severe weather will really be breaking out during the day, Tuesday and Wednesday. Look at that. That congeals across the north or southeast here as it heads east. Very sharp cold front. And this system, the low kind of cut off, slowly, agonizingly moving away from the northeast. And we get then to Friday. Look at this. Major cutoff low, high pressure sandwiched right in between, blocking everything from moving up like this. It does not want to do that. And look at this. This low actually retrogrades Saturday. We're stuck with this pattern. This is a terrible, terrible pattern. Nothing is moving. And look at this. It sends vortices, waves, up to the east coast ahead of this. This is going to keep things very showery and unsettled. CMC is doing a really good job at painting this, and look at that, blocking high. Nothing can exit here. Everything is just all blocked up. This is perfect negative NAO index. Imagine if this was snow. This would be tremendous. And look at that. Some sort of tropical system, but that's next week. We'll get into that, as the time comes closer. And let's see the Euro. Does the Euro have anything to do with this? Well, there's the low. There's that system forming off the southeast coast. We put this into Tuesday, moving up the coast pretty rapidly before realizing it cannot go further northeast. High pressure is a little bit more to the northwest here. Let's see what that factors into. Look at that system really strengthening for early Wednesday across the northeast. Wind and rain just pummeling. And there's that next system in the midsection of the country causing all that severe weather. And look at that. We put that into motion, becoming a big cutoff. Look at this. All the models are pretty much agreeing with each other here. This pattern is pretty easy to figure out with all the blocking going on, and look at that. We head into Sunday. We're still dealing with some activity eventually pulling to the northeast here. All right, let's take a look at rainfall. This is going to be the big thing, both coastlines and midsection of the country as well with the severe weather. We have two big systems on both the west and the east coast. There's that system starting on Monday night here, and look at the rainfall amounts that accumulate through midday Tuesday by about noon or 1 p.m. Anywhere from 2 to as much as 3 inches. Some areas closer to 3.5 here in parts of New Jersey, Long Island, parts of eastern Pennsylvania. And look at out here on the west coast. Yep, we have systems parading in, continuing with 1 to 2 inches. Mountain snow continuing. And look at that. There's the midsection of the country. Severe weather becoming alive by later Tuesday. And look at this. Up into parts of Binghamton, Scranton, Newark, New Jersey, Long Island. You could be getting anywhere from 2.5 to 4 inches, even closer to New York City, where you could be up near 4.5, close to 5 inches of rain. This is nothing to mess around with here. Flash flood watches are in effect for parts of eastern Pennsylvania, upstate New York, New Jersey, parts of Long Island. This is going to be not a very good scenario here, so if you're prone to flash flooding, definitely heed the warnings and the watches. And we put that into motion. As you see, thankfully, most of the rain by that point will have been over. And out on the west coast, we continue with the rainfall. And if we spread this throughout the rest of the week, yep, we do have all that rain in the midsection. Most of this, though, is going to be with severe weather. So the big threat will be severe weather here. But we pile on more rain here in the east. And look at this up in parts of western Washington and Oregon. We're piling on the precipitation and the mountain snow up in the Cascades there. Let's take a look at the CMC, see if it shows any similar pattern. Look at that. Heavy snow in the Sierra Nevadas there. We put this into motion. Look at that. The CMC really bringing it on here. Parts of the eastern part of Pennsylvania, upstate New York into the Susquehanna River Valley, into parts of the Hudson River Valley. And then look at really bullseyeing it here on Long Island. Really trailing it up quite interestingly enough there. And then, of course, the midsection, it's more severe weather and piling more precipitation onward here. I do want to take note. Let's take a look, see if we can get into the region of the northeast here. Here we go. This is what I wanted to do. Zoom in. So we pile on that precipitation, that first round. Let's make sure we get it all the way through Wednesday here. There it is. Look at that. Anywhere from 2 to 2.5, 3 inches in upstate New York here into parts of Long Island. And if we do that with the GFS as well, let's go into the northeast, and here we go. Back it up here to Wednesday. It has the axis of the heaviest precipitation a little bit further west in parts of the Susquehanna River Valley into upstate New York and New York City, Long Island, anywhere from upstate here, eastern 2.5, 3.5 inches of rain, and then Long Island bullseyeing 4.5, close to 5 inches there. So quite interesting. All right, here we go. We're taking a look at the 3-kilometer high-resolution NAM model. Let's take a look at the precipitation across the Northeast with this nor'easter-style system. Look at this through Wednesday. We'll take this all the way to Wednesday evening. Accumulated precipitation. These mesoscale models are really good at doing this close to the system. Look at this. Parts of southern New Jersey getting upwards of 7, 8, 9 inches of rain out near Atlantic City. This is nothing to mess around with. Also another bullseye right around eastern Pennsylvania, just east of the Allentown area here, into parts of the southern Poconos, getting up into the Catskills, and then the Susquehanna River Valley here, getting anywhere from 2 to as much as 3, 3.5 inches of rain. Parts of Long Island up to 4 inches as well. So this is nothing to mess around with. Heed those flash flood warnings. There are flash flood watches in effect in many of these areas. Look at this. I wanted to show you the infrared cloud top simulation on the 3-kilometer NAM. Look at this. You have this big blob of convection to the west, all this energy feeding in from the low pressure over Ohio, and then you have all of this deep tropical moisture, another comma-shaped system. This is the nor'easter type system with potential subtropical characteristics. Look at that. Look at that big comma head there. This is during the day, midday on Tuesday, late morning, early afternoon. Look at that convection. This is forming quite the comma head here. So you can see how it's kind of like mixture between cold core and then warm core potentially to the east here. This is, wow, look at this thing really wrapping up by early Wednesday, and quite a system. All right, let's take a look at the simulated radar here from the NAM 3-kilometer across the southeast. This takes us through the severe weather, at least as far into the NAM as I can get it. It's not good. It doesn't go moderately into the future, but you can see this is during the wee hours of the morning here on Wednesday morning, really early. We have the thunderstorms starting to really organize into more of a cellular line here. Some of these could contain damaging wind, large hail, even this early in the morning. But things really get cranking by midday here. Look at this, from Austin, San Antonio, up to Dallas, Fort Worth. And then we put this into motion, forming quite a squall line here, bearing down eventually on Houston. This is during the early afternoon hours. Take a look at this. This is quite a line of convection into early afternoon, middle afternoon. And then eventually Wednesday afternoon, this line, we have a secondary line forming behind it here in northeast Texas up towards Linden and just west of Texarkana. We have this main line out ahead of it here, pushing through just on the knocking on the door of Baton Rouge here. Damaging wind, large hail. Isolated tornadoes cannot be ruled out, especially you see some of these supercells heading out ahead of the main line. These can rotate eventually. And we head on into during later in the day on Wednesday early evening. Look at that. By late in the evening, early night here, bearing down on New Orleans, forming a secondary line back west here. So more supercell variety here ahead of the main line. So we'll have to watch out for this, but definitely a severe weather outbreak continuing east, and it continues nocturnally throughout the night into the early morning hours of Thursday. So there you have it. Strong storms continuing up in the mid-Mississippi River Valley as well. All right, we're taking a look at the upper air pattern for North America. Let's briefly touch on this real quick here. Trough out west, trough in the east, and then cutoff low forming in the central part of the country, causing all that severe weather across the southern states, spreading eastward into the southeast throughout the week. But we have those big troughs, nor'easter in the northeast, cutting off into its own cutoff low, as well as out west as well, continued storminess. So we're getting into a very stormy pattern here across North America. And look at this. Take a look at your Tuesday. This is probably the worst day. A system that's almost like kind of like an inland nor'easter here. Low pressure moving between Washington, D.C. and Atlantic City before exiting off the coastline here, heading up along the warm front, pushing a lot of moisture, Atlantic moisture north and eastward here. Places like the I-81 corridor, Scranton, Binghamton, Syracuse on northeastward and into New England throughout the day. Anywhere from a half to 3/4 of an inch widespread rain with locally higher amounts up to an inch to an inch and a quarter potentially possible, especially in southern New England here. So temperatures will be a little bit above average as well. Mid-50s, a popular number from the I-88 corridor from Binghamton up to Albany and Concord and into The coastal sections, mid to upper 60s. Places like New York City, 63, 67, and Atlantic City, a little bit cooler back to the west. And here we go, Tuesday across the southeast. The big trouble spot will be Dallas-Fort Worth area. Strong to severe thunderstorms, maybe as far south as Austin, Texas. Damaging wind, large hail, isolated tornadoes. A real distinct possibility here. I'm putting you into the enhanced category here. Some areas could go moderate. We've had some ongoing severe weather over the weekend further east as well in the mid-Mississippi River Valley. But we'll have more of the same here in north central and northeastern Texas. And we'll be getting temperatures up near 90 in Houston as well as Dallas. Across Florida as well, mid to upper 80s near 90 right around Miami. But look at that in northern Georgia and Alabama, upper 60s to right around 70 around the Atlanta and Birmingham area, not even making it to 70 in Nashville, the mid-60s, as well as Raleigh, as we have some cold air push as that front pushes down into the Gulf of Mexico. And for your Wednesday here across the Northeast, probably the trouble area will continue to be southeastern New England here, Nantucket up to Cape Cod, Boston, Portland, down East Maine here, anywhere from a half to 3/4 of an inch of rain continuing with this nor'easter maturing off the coastline here. It will slowly continue to pull away throughout the day, but even back into parts of northern New England, eastern upstate New York, New Jersey, we'll still continue to see scattered showers, maybe up to a 1/10 of an inch. Temperatures will continue to stay pretty mild, though, especially where it's not raining. Look at that. Buffalo 60, 62 in State College, as well as Erie and Pittsburgh. And taking a look at your Wednesday across the southeast, we have that front cutting across Texas. Eastern Texas to Louisiana and parts of Mississippi. We'll be seeing strong to severe thunderstorms continuing. Temperatures will be on the cool down in Dallas, cooling down into the mid-70s, but warmer further east. Will be warming up in places like Birmingham, a little bit warmer in Atlanta into the low to mid-70s, and along the Gulf Coast will be in the 80s and mid to upper 80s across South Florida. But there's quite an air mass clash here, and we'll continue to watch for some severe weather. Could be an enhanced variety here, damaging wind, large hail, isolated tornadoes, especially across eastern Texas, Louisiana, and parts of Mississippi. So stay tuned for watches or warnings that day. It could be a rough situation. And here we go, Thursday across the Northeast, a beautiful picture-perfect day from Bangor, Maine, all the way down to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Maybe a late-day shower in parts of western Pennsylvania around Pittsburgh after 5 p.m. There will be another front on the move, but for the most part, you'll stay crystal clear sunshine with some high cirrus clouds and some cumulus clouds throughout the day, and we'll start to get those increasing clouds towards sunset, but most of the day you'll be able to salvage as a crystal clear blue sky. Look at that, a beautiful day to get out there in Central Park, New York City. Beautiful this time of year, sunny and 60 degrees, 62 in Binghamton, sunny, 64 in Harrisburg, and 66, the warm spot in Erie, Pennsylvania. And as we take a look at your Thursday, that front continues east. You see the air mass, the cooler air mass plowing down across parts of Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi, cooling down around 70 to 75 in many areas. But the front will be on the move, damaging wind, large hail, some isolated tornadoes, making it as far east as Georgia and parts of South Carolina. Probably won't make it too far north into the cooler air mass of North Carolina, but we will be watching for a severe weather outbreak from eastern Alabama, Georgia, parts of South Carolina, and Florida. So going to be a busy day on Thursday for severe weather. And look at those temperatures. As I said, behind the front, much cooler. And ahead of the front, we have that more moist, unstable air mass. And here we go for your Friday across the Northeast. Looks a bit stormier here. We have a warm front moving in from the Ohio Valley, that next system. Stalled front along the U.S. East Coast here, just south of New Jersey. And we have rainfall on the increase. We'll be getting heavier throughout the day, probably up to 1/4 to 1/2 an inch in most of these medium green and darker green areas, especially west of the Interstate 81 corridor in upstate New York and Pennsylvania. From Binghamton to Scranton, Syracuse on westward, Harrisburg, State College, Buffalo, Erie, Pittsburgh, getting in on the act here with some more rain. And we'll have the temperatures well above average as well, 55 in Binghamton, as you can see, and getting warmer further westward here. So continuing the above average temperatures with the rain. And look at this Friday. The big story is the major cool down. We're actually seeing highs that might not be as warm as parts of the Northeast. Look at that. only barely making it to 60 in Atlanta and Birmingham. Nashville, not even making it to 60. And look at this, the cool air mass, 68, 69, right around 70 degrees in Pensacola, Florida. Not even making it to 70 in New Orleans. So this is a big cool air mass. This is why we have the severe weather ongoing. And the severe weather will pretty much push across the rest of the Florida peninsula from the middle to South Florida here. So damaging wind, large hail, isolated tornadoes. But for the Carolinas and Georgia, things will be improving. So no threat of severe weather here, and conditions will pretty much clear out across much of the rest of the southeast here. Maybe some showers developing on a trough up into parts of the mid-Mississippi River Valley. And extended outlook 5-day. From Binghamton to Scranton's, upper Susquehanna region of upstate New York, northeast Pennsylvania, all points in between. Take a look at this big rainy pattern. We just can't get a frost or a freeze. People with allergies like myself will continue to suffer. We did not get the frost over the weekend. It just stayed too warm at night. And those lows, look at those lows, will be more close to your average highs. And look at that. Temperatures will be a bit above average. Look at that, 62 on Thursday, the only nice day, but look at that. Tuesday and Friday are probably the two rainiest days. Tuesday we have that system that's more like a nor'easter style system, bringing up to 3/4 of an inch of rain. And Friday also rain continuing with the next system into the weekend as well. So lots of clouds and rain here. Wednesday there'll be a chance of showers. Heading up towards 57, but your coldest night will be Thursday morning, 38. Don't expect any frost at this point. We're heading towards a period of time where we could see the latest frost or freeze we've ever seen here. And thanks for joining me here at Media Mark's Weather Eastern and Hurricane Eastern. Don't forget to give my Facebook page some love. It's Media Mark, also Weather Northeastern. It's also Hurricane Northeastern. And visit me on Twitter at Weather Eastern. And don't forget, MediaMark.com, WeatherNortheastern.com.